I've been wanting to do this video for a long time. I get asked, where are we at in D4? What is the current features of the game? Does it have this? Does it have that? So what we did was we did a deep dive over the last couple days. We watched every single interview, read every single blog post that they did, watched the BlizzCon panels, read every official blog. It's been 2.5 years since they announced it. So this video is gonna give you all the major things that I could find for D4. If you see anything else, put it in the comments down below. I'm sure it'll help people out. No sponsorship for the video, but I am promoting my own website, so feel free to check it in the description down below. I have a Diablo 3, Diablo 4 section where I'm gonna add a bunch of videos. I have like my gameplay when I streamed it at BlizzCon 2019. So you can watch like 2 hours of gameplay here if you wanna see me with these bright lights blinding my face. Diablo 4 is an isometric action ARPG. The engine was built from the ground up by Blizzard. They're really trying to go back to their roots and get to that dark, gothic, medieval, hell type horror. Game takes place decades after Diablo 3. If you can remember, Malthael killed 90% of the population of Sanctuary. So what's left over is like the scraps or the survivors, like a barren, evil, dark wasteland to explore. The game has a non-linear campaign, 5 different zones. So you can go around to the different zones, do them in any order you like. You can do them all solo. It's not forced or gated solo content. You can also do it in a group, up to 4-player groups. It has a day and night cycle. The zones are 10 to 20 times bigger than Diablo 3 is what they said. It's gonna release on next gen consoles and PC at the same time. Console's gonna have full couch co-op. I couldn't find anything on PC if you could do couch co-op on PC, but it'll have consoles, next gen consoles, so like PS5, the Xbox Series X will have it out the box, built up to 2 players on the same screen, so the inventory doesn't cross over. You can level sync with your friends. It's supposed to be seamless, so you can play with them no matter what level you are, and you guys both get rewards. The main Diablo 4 trailer has 3 main characters in it. A lot of us pretty much believe that this is Rathma. He's got a finger missing. It fits the description of his character. The son of Inarius and Lilith. Inarius and Lilith created Sanctuary together. Inarius is an angel, Lilith is a demon. She's the daughter of Mephisto. I'm getting into the lore just a little tiny bit so to set the stage for it. So Rathma is summoning Lilith in the trailer, which signifies that there's a reason for that. So Rathma pretty much believes in the balance of Sanctuary, of light and darkness. That's his main kind of character arc. And Lilith is more darker, wants to kill the people that oppressed her, right? And then Inarius he's been trapped. Who knows? Well, he just wants to get out. He's been trapped for a long time. So during the trailer, there's a quick flash to this scene, and it looks like what would be an angel cloak and in chains. Inarius is chained. Supposedly in lore, his eyelids get ripped off, and he's in like a zone of mirrors, so he could see, and his wings and his eyelids get ripped off. It's pretty dark, all right? And this is what Diablo stems from. This is original Diablo lore. So I believe at some point we're gonna save Inarius, or he's gonna be reborn, or this is all speculation, right? This is the speculation part. At some point he's gonna be part of the story because he's basically daddy and Lilith is mommy. I highly recommend you watch the trailer on your own. This is where Diablo 4 is starting. The world got destroyed by Malthael. 9 out of 10 people completely clapped. The world's in ruin. Demons are running amok. Everybody's in a really bad shape. So there must be a reason that Rathma decided to resurrect Lilith into Sanctuary. There's 5 different classes to choose from. We got the Barbarian, the Druid, the Necromancer, the Rogue, and the Sorcerer. You might notice from this lineup, they all look pretty cool. There's no Holy class here. So I think it has something to do with the lore, like we talked about. Maybe the priests don't have access to the holy magic anymore, or it's so sparse. So I believe that the first expansion, or at some point early on, the first major patch, we will get Paladin or Templar or a monk or a cleric or some type of holy character, because it's weird for an RPG to launch with no holy magic. But I think it's because of the lore. They're trying to tell a story here that there is no light anymore. It's just rough and tumble kind of space. There's going to be a wardrobe system in D4. You can mix and match hundreds of armors and dyes, hair color, even the metals on your gear can be like different shades, like bronze, gold, silver, things like that. So there's gonna be lots of different customizable options, so you can make the warrior of your dreams, basically, or mage of your dreams. There is going to be PvP in Diablo 4. You can get ears from it. You can get rewards from PvP. You can avoid PvP. There's gonna be specific zones. There's gonna be objectives for PvP. Like if you're doing well or you're turning in your PvP currency, there's going to be a big thing on the map. So there's going to be events to go along with it. It's going to be supported, a fully supported mode. The level cap looks like it's going to be 100, and that counts with Paragon. Please, I mean, we definitely want Paragon capped. We don't want no infinite grinds. Please don't let that happen. There is going to be trading in town hubs. Trading is going to be a big part of the game, but the best items in the game right now are not tradable. That's their current plan. The second best items in the game are only tradable one time, and then like probably the crafted items, this is just speculation. Probably the crafted items you can trade as much as you want, or like the basic items can go back and forth. They're gonna support move on left click. I know a lot of people that play PoE or other games like moving on left click, so they're gonna have a fully customizable system for you guys. There's going to be mounts and mount trophies. These trophies are going to be cool to show off, I guess, kind of like The Witcher. And then these trophies are also going to have stats like movement speed. You have a lesser chance to get dismounted, things like that. Weapon skills are back, so if you're using maces, swords, you're going to have to level them up. In addition, these items are going to have like implicit values to them, kind of like Path of Exile or Wolcen. So like, you know, one might have more attack speed or might stun on hit or whatever. They're going to have like implicit stats built into them. There's going to be world bosses. I'll bring up some of the footage of me fighting the world boss at BlizzCon 2019, but there's also like a stagger bar, and you have to work with players to take it down. The camera pulls back because the boss is so big. They've revealed 2 world bosses right now, a Shava and like this greed type of goblin boss. Looks like this big boy right here, and he has like this treasure chest and he's slamming it around. The campfire scene's back when you log in, which is really cool, and then it reflects all your characters on the campfire screen. So however you customize them, you'll be able to see them, similar to Lost Ark's login screen. Rune Words are coming back, but Rune Words are like very light. Like the Rune Words have a condition and then an effect. So right now, an example of the current Rune Word system is you dash and then you get more crit. You dash and then your next attack stuns or something like that. So the Rune Words, from what they showed, are pretty light, but they did say that they're still being iterated on. Everything is being iterated on. We're not even in public alpha yet or anything like that. There'll be public events, so as you're running through the world, it'll be like Save Me or a Cursed Chest event or escort quests. There will be overworld collectibles. They didn't really go into detail. They just mentioned it in one of these interviews that I was listening to. Overworld collectibles that could be like Makoko seeds or something. I don't know. They also mentioned lore books. There's going to be obviously chests to find in the open world. The dungeons are seamless with no load times. So if you're in level 1 of Hellacious Zone, you'll be able to find the stairs and go down the stairs. There's no like zone. The only zone in Diablo 4 are to go into dungeons, right? So if you just want to get away from everybody and go blast dungeons like old school, you can. The dungeons will also have targeted farming in there. So like certain dungeons will have like boot drops, or they might have a weapon drop that you need. So you'll be going around the world target farming these specific dungeons. Late game, if you want to juice up the dungeons, you can, and turn them kind of into a mythic dungeon. If you play World of Warcraft, you can, they call it nightmare dungeons. So you can take a normal dungeon and juice it up and make it really difficult and get more rewards for it. Diablo 4 has like stat breakpoints on skills, which is really cool. And I don't know if I hear anybody talk about it. So for instance, Whirlwind, right? After you put a certain amount of strength in Whirlwind, you get movement speed. After you put more strength in whirlwind, you get more damage. And then after you put more strength and agility, when you hit these like break points, right? It's like 250 strength, 250 agility, then whirlwind like pulls enemies in or something like that. So that's pretty cool. You can kind of, I think Conan Exiles had that. As you put more points into a stat, you get different talents for it. I hope all these are more interesting choices, like pull enemies in, stun enemies, you know, the fireball splits into 3, the fireball burns the ground, just things that are more interesting. You light enemies on fire and then they light other enemies on fire. Things like that are more gameplay oriented possibly than just damage, right? Just crit or crit damage or whatever. So something interesting would be awesome. Gear you find in the open world will have skill ranks on them. And if you get a piece early that has, say, whirlwind damage, like we just talked about whirlwind, but you don't have the whirlwind skill yet, you can actually use the whirlwind skill early by using that item. So that's kind of cool if you're leveling and you get like, you know, leap slam, and then you get a leap slam legendary or item with leap slam item rank on it, it will give you the access to do so, kind of similar to D2, which is nice. There's obviously going to be normal, magic, rare, legendaries, uniques, all the goodies in the game, just like you would expect from a Diablo game. Listening to a developer interview, they said the game will take several hours to complete each act. So several to me means 5 to 9, and there's 5 zones. So you could say the game will take 25 to 30 hours to beat. They said it's half that if you rush it. So that's like 15 hours for the main campaign. Obviously the games for Diablo is the farming, the end game, all that kind of stuff. And they've only released a little bit of end game. They talked about those mythic keystones and they talked about world bosses, but there's still more that they need to show us. So yeah, and there are going to be seasons in D4. So I'm assuming there'll be resets like Path of Exile, Diablo 3. Yeah, we don't. So in a way, I don't want the campaign that long, or alternate ways to play through the season. If we have to play through a 15 to 30 hour story, that would maybe not be good for new seasons. Let me know what you guys think. Do you want to play 30-hour to 15-hour seasons every time? I'm not sure. Most of us just want to get into endgame. Besides that initial playthrough, right? That initial playthrough, we want to experience the game and be immersed and all that. So everyone gets like a dash ability, like a little small dash, and that could also help proc some of the runes that we talked about. Every class has a unique trait to them in addition to how they look and play and their spells and abilities. So for instance, sorceresses get a ability to tailor their spells however they want, like spell weaving. Necromancers can control their pets. They can set them on like more defensively or offensively. Druids can shapeshift. Barbs can carry one more legendary weapon than anybody else in the game. Just that kind of speaks to the class, like the arsenal system, right? Rogues can like coat their weapons in poison and build up combo points and things like that. So each class is going to have a lot of thematic flavor to them. I do plan on making individual videos for all this, especially once we get alpha. So definitely check back to the website for all the latest information to keep you guys up to date on how everything works. But there's going to be a full-fledged Paragon board. Here's an early look at what it looks like. You start in the middle, and as you progress, you can go to whatever gate you want, and you could also rotate the boards. There are going to be like these camps that you can find out in the open world. You take them over and new things pop up. Like you might have an access to a dungeon. You might have access to waypoints, vendors. So that's kind of cool. Hopefully they keep them really meaningful, and you get a sense of feeling that you're changing the world, right? Like I said earlier, the world's overrun with demons, right? So we're clearing these camps out, reclaiming it back for Sanctuary, and it's opening up bonuses for like you and your characters. All right, one last thing that I want to touch on. It can be very complicated to understand, but there are item rarities like we talked about: normal, magic, yellow. And then you have legendaries and uniques. Uniques are unchanged, they're unique, you can't mess with them. They're in the game. Like a Thunder Fury is a Thunder Fury, you can't change it. But legendaries, you can actually break them down with a game mechanic and take that legendary power and put it on any other legendary that you want, just not uniques, right? So if you get a sword Like let's say you have this Rune Workers Conduit, legendary two-handed mace, and you want to put this affix on a pair of boots, you could. And I think this is going to be maybe one of the main currencies in the game. You can collect them, hold them for later, and then maybe you can trade them to other players. So it depends on what build you're going for. You might need a lot of these, right? You might need a lot of damage. I don't really know if there's a cap to it. Like, can you only do 1 or 2 or 3, or can you put your whole build to have 50% damage dealt over 5 seconds? We don't know all these different plans that they have, but that's currently one of the major kind of crafting or currencies in the game. Is you'll be able to break down legendaries and put that on another piece. So that effectively makes rares valuable, because if you get a really good rare boots with no legendary power, well, you'll be able to get a legendary power for it later on. And again, I plan on making deeper videos to explain it. This video is already running really long, so yeah. Hopefully this video gave you an idea of the types of features that is coming in Diablo 4. I know it went on a long time, so a like on the video would be super appreciated, as it does help the channel grow and get the video out there to more Nephilim like yourself. Don't forget to check out the website for the latest and greatest. This is Bloodshed, and I'm out of here.